Welcome friends. In this video, let's discuss about the political organization, family, social division, rituals and philosophy during the later Vedic period. So this video is continuation of the previous video series, and the popular assemblies, as I was mentioning in the previous video, lost importance. Okay, royal powers increased at the cost of Sabha, Samiti, Vidatas during the later Vedic period, and women were not permitted to sit in the Sabhas, and these Sabhas were now dominated by the nobles and Brahmanas. And women were also accorded lower status during the later Vedic period when compared to the men. So that is important here. And role of rituals in strengthening king's influence. Here, the king performed various rituals to upgrade his social status, to establish legitimacy in the minds of the people, and also to gain popular support. So here the king performed various sacrifices. Among these, the most important thing are Rajasuya Yaga, Ashwamedha sacrifice, and Vajapaya sacrifice. Okay, here Rajasuya sacrifice means the king was supposed to confer supreme power after performing the Rajasuya sacrifice. Even today, some of the politicians perform Rajasuya Yaga to gain political ambitions. So is the intensity and belief in the Rajasuya Yaga. Okay, so Ashwamedha sacrifice. The meaning of this is that unquestioned control over an area, okay, over a territory, unquestioned control over a territory in which royal horse ran uninterrupted. So here the idea is that the royal horse was made to let loose into another king's territory. So if that royal horse was not questioned, was not interrupted, then that territory was considered as the king's own. Okay, so if the royal horse was interrupted, then the war was waged against that king, and the situation continues like that. So the Vajapaya Yaga, next important Yaga is the Vajapaya Yaga. Here the chariot race was performed. In that race, the royal chariot was made to win the race against the king's men. So this increased the prestige of the king among the minds of the people. So these were some of the sacrifices were performed by the kings, and the collection of taxes became mandatory. So this became common and deposited with an officer called Sangrahitri. The king was assisted by the special class of officers called priest, commander-in-chief, queen, and other higher functionaries. Priests used to provide the philosophical guidance to the king. Commander-in-chief assisted him in the war operations, and chief, queen, and other higher functionaries assisted him in other different administrative functions. Okay, at the lower level, the administration carried out by the village assemblies. Okay, the administration was carried out by the village assemblies. So the most important part of this video is that the social organization during the later Vedic period. So this is important. You can quote this in your mains examination or in the essay paper or ethics paper. So this is important. During the later Vedic period, the society was divided into four varnas called Chaturvarnashrama. Okay, this division was unequal based on the birth. Okay, the four varna, that is Brahmins, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. Okay, so Brahmins occupies the topmost position in the ritual hierarchy. Okay, topmost position in the ritual hierarchy, and they perform sacrifices and various prayers to the common people and also the king. In turn, they get the gift from the people and also the king. Okay, so Kshatriya occupies the second important position in the ritual and social hierarchy. So there was always a conflict, struggle, and fight between the Kshatriya and Brahmin to gain the topmost position in the society. Okay, so that is one of the reasons for the establishment of Jainism and Buddhism. Okay, because the Jaina, so Mahavira and Gautama Buddha were once the Kshatriyas, so they rebelled against the priestly domination and established Jainism and Buddhism as an answer to the Brahminical domination during the later Vedic period. So Kshatriya usually occupies the second position, and Vaishya the third lowest position. And they were the merchants and landowners and agriculturists. They provided the taxes to the king. They provide maintenance for the Shudras and other clans. Okay, so the Shudra occupies the lowermost position, and they were meant to serve the remaining three varnas. That was the belief at that time, and they were imposed various disabilities. Like not to profess various occupation, not to study Vedas, and and study Gayatri Mantra. Okay, so they were denied Upanayana ceremony. So various disabilities were imposed on Shudras. So this was the division of the society during the later Vedic period, which was unequal. Okay, unequal and unethical. And here uh, this Chaturvarnashrama traces its rudimentary origin from the Rig Veda itself. In Rig Veda, a hymn called Purusha Sukta was mentioned. In that Purusha Sukta, the cosmic being called Purusha was sacrificed for the creation of the universe. The cosmic being called Purusha was sacrificed for the creation of the universe. So the topmost, that is the head of the Purusha, was sacrificed for the creation of Brahmanas. So the head means thinking, intellectuality. So the priests were given the topmost position for guidance of the society, to gain the moksha and also to gain knowledge. And the hands represents the kshatriyas. The hands and shoulders represent the strength they were of the responsibility to protect the state. Kshatriya represent the arms. Okay, the thighs were represented by the Vaishyas. So thighs means the hard work. So they involve in business activities, agriculture, and they provide the taxes to the kings and also give to the priest, and also they support the kshatriya shudras. Okay, so the feet represent the shudras, the lowermost position in the ritual hierarchy, and they were meant to serve the remaining three varnas. The belief is that, and they were imposed various disabilities because they were given the lowest ritual hierarchy. So that is the meaning of this Chaturvarnashrama, and the origin is from Rigvedic hymn called Purusha Sukta, that is the sacrifice of the Purusha to create the universe. So that is the theory here, and this were discussed in the previous slide. And the top three varnas, that is the Brahmin, Kshatriya, and Vaishya, shared one common feature, that is they were entitled to Upanayana ceremony. That means the sacred thread were according to them according to the Vedic mantras. So they were considered as twice born. They were born once at the time of their birth, and second during the Upanayana ceremony. So this ceremony was denied to Shudras. It was not allowed to the Shudras, and Shudras were also denied recitation of the Gayatri Mantra, study of Vedas, and they were denied entry into the heaven, moksha, and all the disabilities were imposed against the Shudras during this period. That is important. So you can mention that in your essay topic, to mention about the inequality which were existing against the scheduled castes and scheduled tribes and oppressed classes since past ancient time. Okay, so that was the theme of this. And family, let's look at the family. The family's power increased during this period. Okay, so in princely family, the king's family, the right of primogeniture was getting stronger. Okay, and male ancestor was worshipped, the female ancestors were neglected during this period. And gotra exogamy was appeared during this period. Okay, exo means outside, game means marriage outside the gotra is the meaning of gotra exogamy. Okay, so here gotra means a cow pen, a cow shed, or a place where cattle belong to the whole clan was kept. So here the gotra considered as the people of the same gotra was considered as descendant from the common ancestor. So the descendant from the common ancestor means they were considered as brothers and sisters. So the marriage within the gotra was denied to them. So is the concept of gotra exogamy. Even though they didn't know about them, even though they were distant, if they considered as of the same gotra, the marriage was not allowed within the gotra. So that was the concept here. And the another important philosophical thing is that ashramas. Okay, the human being has to passes through four important stages in their life, according to this philosophy. These four important stages are brahmacharya, grihasthashrama, vanaprastha, and sannyasa. Okay, brahmacharya, the stage starts from the 4 year to 18 or 20 years. Okay, in this brahmacharya stage, the youth studies in the guru's ashrama, Okay, and all the Vedic text and all the learning were done in the guru's house itself or in the ashrama. So this is the brahmacharya. The strict austere life had to be followed in the brahmacharya. And after attaining the adulthood, the person enters the grihastha ashrama, that is the marriage, the life of an householder. In this grihastha ashrama, various responsibility were performed by the men to perform various sacrifices and also to support sannyasis and brahmacharis. Okay, and after certain period, after say 40 or 45 years, the grihastha ashrama, the men used to travel to forest and come back to the house to gain certain knowledge and to get ready for the sannyasa. Okay, to get ready for the sannyasa. So vanaprastha is the middle age to gain the wisdom, and after attaining 60 years, the sannyasa was performed, was attained, and that means detachment from all the worldly pleasure and also detachment from the family responsibilities to solely find the pure consciousness and also to get the other three stages of life like brahmacharyas, growthashram and vanaprastha. So the four important stages is this. So that is the philosophy during this period, and rituals and philosophy about this later Vedic period was entirely under Brahminic influence, and cult of sacrifice was central to this culture. So the sacrifice gained preeminent position. The Brahmins made elaborate rituals, and they invented new rituals and sacrifices to increase their prominence during this period. Okay, so let's look at the changes during this period. The Indra and Agni, the most important god during the early Vedic period, lost their importance, and the Prajapati, that is the creator of the universe, came into prominence, and minor gods of the Rigvedic period, that is Rudra and Vishnu, gained prominence during this period. Okay, so Rudra was the god of the animals, and Vishnu was the preserver and protector of the people. So they gained importance, and signs of idolatry appear in the later Vedic time itself. And here the rituals gained also importance. Okay, rituals continued to be recited, but they are not dominant mode of worshipping. Sacrifice, okay, animal sacrifice gained importance. Okay, sacrifice involving killing of animals on a large scale was a practice during the later Vedic period, which was not present in the early Vedic period. Okay, and especially the destruction of cattle wealth. Cattle was used for sacrifice on a large scale. Okay, and guest was fed with the cattle meat. Okay, the guest was called gogna, that means one who fed on the cattle. The name itself indicates guest was served with the cattle meat, and because of this indiscriminate destruction of the cattle, the agriculture was suffered during this period, and Brahminical dominance was at its peak during this period. The formula and sacrifice were invented, adopted, and elaborated by the priests and Brahmins. So, if the common people, does not perform these sacrifices, they were denied entry into the heaven and moksha by these Brahmins. Okay, the Brahmana claimed a monopoly of priestly knowledge and expertise. They were of monopoly of the expertise of priestly knowledge, so they gained the dominance and they exploited the remaining three varnas. Okay, they invented large number of rituals for their own benefit and for other reasons. And towards the end of the Vedic period, strong reaction against priestly domination, against the cult of rituals were developed. So this resulted in the compilation of Upanishads, okay, philosophical texts around 600 BC, because of the rebellion against the Brahminical dominance. So now let's look at the Upanishads. Upanishads, the meaning of it is that to sit down near someone and listen. Okay, so these are the philosophical texts which criticized the rituals and laid stress on the value of right belief and knowledge. Okay, these Upanishads criticized the rituals which were of prominence in the later Vedic period, and they laid stress on the value of right belief and knowledge itself. Only value of right belief and knowledge is enough, not the elaborate rituals according to Upanishads. So Upanishads are known as Vedanta. Okay, Vedantas. The meaning of Vedanta is that it means, from one point of view, is the end of Vedas. Veda Anta means end of Vedas, and other meaning is that they reveal the final aim of Vedas. Okay, they reveal the final aim of Vedas. Thereby they achieved the purpose of Vedas. Okay, they revealed the end aim of the Vedas. Okay, so totally there are 108 Upanishads, out of which 11 are prominent, called Mukhya Upanishads. So these 11 are mentioned here. This is only for reference. Okay, you can mention some of these in your answer. It's not mandatory. Okay, Aitreya Upanishad. Okay, Bradaranyaka Upanishad, Taittiriya Upanishad. Okay, Chandogya Upanishad, Kena Upanishad, Isha Upanishad, Katha Upanishad, Mukunda Upanishad. This is important. So Satyameva Jayate, which was mentioned in the emblem of India, was adapted from this Mukunda Upanishads. So in prelims examination, the question was asked about this Mukunda Upanishad. So please be cautious while reading these important issues. The importance of Upanishads in society and political administration is huge because they emphasized the knowledge of the self or Atma and their connection with the Brahma. Okay, so this is the theme here, not any elaborate rituals and sacrifices. Some of the kings of that time, that is Panchala and Videha, they cultivated this type of thinking from in the minds of people and created atmosphere for the creation of for the reform of the priestly dominated religion. Okay, that was another theme, and this Upanishads emphasize the changelessness. Okay, changelessness, stability, indestructibility, and immortality of the Atma. Okay, at the soul of the being, and this served the cause of stability. It was needed at that time for raising state power. So it provided, assisted the ruling class to entertain stability and to gain prominence for them. So at that time, kings were depicted as gods or Brahma. So the Upanishads preached the Atma, connection of Atma with the Brahma. So this fostered allegiance to superior authority, that is king. So that is one of the reasons. So it supported the priestly, the domination of the king. Let's look at the quick comparison between the Vedic civilization, okay, the present civilization, and Indus Valley civilization, which I had discussed in my previous videos. Okay, the source of this reconstruction of history is from archaeology in the Harappan civilization. Okay, various archaeological materials were used, and in the Vedic civilization, the four Vedas provided a rich account about the Vedic civilization. Okay, Rig Veda, Yajurveda, Sama Veda, and Atharvana Veda. So the original inhabitants were the origins for the Harappan civilization. Here in Vedic civilization, the people migrated from the Central Asia. Indo-Aryans were the reason for Vedic civilization. Here in Harappan, the urban settlement was major, but here it is rural and proto-urban settlement. The source of economy in Harappan civilization was agriculture, trade, both internal as well as external, craft, and other industries. But in Vedic civilization, initially it was pastoral in the early Vedic civilization, and later it became agricultural and cattle rearing, settled agriculture. And knowledge of iron was not known to the Harappans, but the culture was based on copper and bronze. But in later Vedic period, they used iron extensively. They used iron for extension of their influence and expansion of agriculture. They cut the trees with the help of iron axes. Okay, this quickened their expansion. Next is role of horses is of little importance to the Harappan civilization, but horses were very important for Vedic civilization because it was used in the warfare and in the movement from one place to another. They played a decisive role in their life. And pottery, the major pottery during the Harappan civilization is red and black ware. It was distinctive. And in Vedic civilization, it was painted grey ware pottery. So these were some of the important differences. Some questions may come to compare the Vedic and Indus Valley civilization in the mains examination. This come handy for you. Please refer this. Thanks for watching. Please share the video, like this video, and most important, like my Facebook page. That is facebook.com/UPSC General Studies. Okay, UPSC General Studies. Link is also provided in the description box below. Go ahead and click that link and like my Facebook page.